Welcome back. Thank you, Chief, for hanging out with us today.
You bet.
I wanted to go into a couple of the different current social issues that have been going on. I know that we've had an increased presence around the 3600 block of Smith Avenue, which is down by the Gospel Mission, as well by the Transit Center and kind of the downtown core. What's going on there, and what issues are we trying to address?
Well, yes, we have seen an increase in our police presence down in those areas, and that's in direct response to calls for service down in those areas, as well as concerns that have been expressed to us from area businesses and citizens that frequent those areas. Specifically, what we've seen down by the Mission area, down underneath the I-5 overpass there, what we've seen develop over the last several months, since about the end of last year, is basically a homeless encampment that has developed on the sidewalk down there. Most of these individuals are not even affiliated with the Everett Gospel Mission next door, but we've seen an increase in the number of people from generally about 20 that we'd seen in the past to upwards of 50 or more in that area. So, but along with that increased volume of individuals down there, we saw an increase in the level of criminal activity, and in particular, assault-related activity and assault with weapon complaints. I noticed a significant increase in those types of calls down there, which was concerning to me and to a lot of our officers and employees within the police department. And so as a result of that increase in crime, some health, safety issues that were occurring down there, we've stepped up our police presence down there significantly. Also in the area of the Transit Center, it is definitely a center point for travelers coming in and out of Everett, and so we've increased our police presence down there with some special emphasis officers and our bicycle officers that work that area and visit it on a regular basis, as well as in the downtown core. There's a lot of activity going on in the downtown with new construction, apartments, farmers market coming soon. The Hampton Inn Hotel has opened up. We've got another hotel in construction phase right now, so a lot of activity in the downtown. And so we've definitely increased our police visibility in the downtown and getting our officers out on foot and making contact with businesses and citizens.
So really, it's not a pushing or an attack on homeless people per se, but really we've noticed that increase, the spike in crime. That's really the activity that we're trying to address.
Well, it is, and I would say that as a police department, we've really recently engaged in a philosophical change, if you will, and that being that since late last fall, our officers have not been just out arresting people and putting them in jail if they're committing crimes, but conducting some outreach and trying to hook a lot of these individuals, these chronic utilizers of whether it's the medical system, the police services, fire services, into social service providers to try to get them into a program, get them stable. And so our officers have interviewed pretty much every one of these individuals that they come in contact with and try to find out what services they're in need of. And then we work with social service providers to try to connect the two. We've worked with Catholic Community Services quite a bit in recent months, had them in our cars with us, making direct outreach on the street. We have been making numerous referrals to that organization and others that we've partnered with. So it's not just the traditional arrest and prosecute model. It is a contact and provide some social service references and to try to get these individuals out of the criminal justice system.
So this truly is outside the box thinking for traditional police services. Isn't there something also potentially about a social service worker as well with the police stationed with us, some sort of process like that?
Yes, there is, Aaron. There's, as a result of the Everett Community Streets Initiative task force that the mayor convened last year, and the group came up with a list of 63, I believe it was 63 priority recommendations. Among those recommendations was to embed a social worker within the police department or within emergency services. And this is a model that is relatively new in law enforcement, but it's one that I fully support. And so we are currently in the process of negotiating with 2 other partners along with the city to, at least for a year's period, to fund a social worker that will be what we call embedded in the police department. And what I mean by that is that that social worker will be physically located within the police department and not in an office tucked out of the way, but within the patrol division.
Wow.
And so they will be visible to our patrol officers. That individual will be accessible. That individual will ride with our police officers so that we can make some of those direct connections on the street and help get some of these people into the services that they need right away. And then we'll also be able to provide training to our officers about the different social services and resources that are available that our officers, in the absence of the social worker, will be able to pass on to these individuals.
Well, that's truly a different stance than what we've normally taken and what departments normally take, and that's very creative, and that's neat. Along with that, one of our viewers has a question more about Casino Road. They notice an uptick in crime on Casino Road, and the question they really have is this all gang related? Is all the problems on Casino Road gang related? Since we're talking about community, homelessness is a North End problem, if you want to call it that, and gangs is a South End problem. Is this really true, or what should the citizens really be aware of?
Well, I think that in any city the size of Everett, you have different issues in different parts of the city, and homelessness, addiction, mental illness. Those are social issues that span the entire geographic area of the city of Everett. We do certainly see, it seems like the volume of it in the north end of town is higher than in the south end, but we still have the same issues in South Everett. Okay. In terms of gang activity, we see gang activity at different times throughout the city. We have seen an increase in certain types of crimes out in the Casino Road area, and some of those have been tied to gangs and gang activity. I will say that we are monitoring that very closely. We've added some patrols. Some of them are visible and some of them are not so visible in terms of our strategy. But I will say this, that with respect to gang activity in the city of Everett, and in particular some of the shootings and some of the assaults and the violent activity, we will not tolerate that in Everett. As a police department, we will hold those people that are engaging in that kind of behavior accountable. We will find them, we will arrest them, and the courts will then hold them accountable. So I think as a community, it's something that we need to be aware of. We're doing a lot of outreach with the different stakeholders along the Casino Road area. So we have a lieutenant in our Special Investigations Unit that has done an outstanding job reaching out to different families, family groups out in the Casino Road area, in different organizations and apartment complexes, and is going out and providing education and gang prevention information, gang identification information, working on eradicating graffiti as quickly as possible, those kinds of things. So as a department, we're taking a very, I think, proactive approach, whether it's in patrols or whether it's community outreach and education.
It actually sounds like we're approaching the issues in the South End, the gang issues that everybody's concerned about, as well as the issues in the North End, more from a proactive, out-of-the-box community involvement perspective versus just we go in there, we arrest, we let the process take over.
Absolutely. Our mission within the police department is, to enhance quality of life, reduce crime, and work in partnership with our community. And that's what we're doing, is we're really engaging the community in an effort to address a lot of these quality of life issues and to reduce crime. And we will continue to do that. It'll continue to be a priority for me moving forward.
Excellent. Well, Chief, thank you very much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Your candid answers are refreshing, letting the community know exactly what's going on. We thank you for your time.
You bet.
Thank you as well for your time today. We appreciate you watching the show. We will be back next quarter. And as always, please go out and make an impact on your community.